How's it going, friends? Welcome to Lake Elmo, Minnesota. Right behind me, that's the Lake Elmo Inn. That's been a staple. It's been the thing in Lake Elmo for a long time. And this little downtown is very cute. You can go back and watch my other Lake Elmo video from a couple years ago. It wasn't this cute. It's come a long way. A lot of housing, a lot of developments going on, a lot of changes happening in Lake Elmo. Let's check it out. So right now we are in Lake Elmo Park Reserve, the namesake. Oscar and I were taking a little walk here. And this place is truly, it's such a beautiful green space. I think you hear park reserve, you don't think of this kind of a scale necessarily, right? Like this is park reserve, park green space on a different level, on a pretty exceptional level, I would say. And I do think that Lake Elmo has a pretty unique value proposition, or pretty unique just like beauty proposition, natural space proposition, where it just is exceptionally lovely to look at. And really just from a purely natural standpoint, it's just like, it's really something. A wide angle GoPro lens, it does an okay job of showing, what I'm talking about. But yeah, again, even just driving through this on the way into film, I'm like, oh yeah, this place, this place is really, really cool. And the boundaries of Lake Elmo are basically as follows. To the north is the town of Grant, which is not something you're going to hear much about. It's largely rural, also a very, very pretty area, even more, removed from the metro than Lake Elmo. I suppose it's a matter of time right before that becomes kind of the next Lake Elmo. But Lake Elmo has so much left to, potentially turn into house space housing, that I think it's got quite a long way to go. And then to the east, you have the town of Stillwater, very much a beloved town for Minnesotans, a beloved like day trip town, but also a place that people just live in the metropolitan area or just outside the metropolitan area. Yeah, it's a bit of a drive from downtown Minneapolis, but it's not too bad from downtown St. Paul. And then to the south, you have Woodbury, which is what I like to call like a ultimate suburb kind of situation. I think a lot of the errands that you would run if you live in Lake Elmo would be run in Woodbury or the suburb to the west of Lake Elmo, which is Oakdale. And Lake Elmo is about 20 miles or 30 minutes to downtown Minneapolis. It's about 15 miles or 25 minutes to downtown St. Paul. 25 miles or 35 minutes to the airport. Obviously, it's on totally the other side of either downtown from the airport. Population here is just over 15,000 people. So truly one of the least dense suburbs, if you want to call it a suburb. And then as far as schools are concerned, Lake Elmo is served by Stillwater Area Public Schools, which on the whole gets an A. Very highly rated schools. In particular, you have Stillwater High School, that gets an A. You have Oakland Middle School, which gets an A-. And then Lake Elmo Elementary School, that gets an A-. There's also St. Croix Catholic, which is a private Catholic school, and that is pre-K through 8th grade. And that also gets an A-. The housing stock, like the style of homes, sort of the epicness of homes in Lake Elmo, I think is one of the places where it shines the most. Just beautiful lot sizes and things like that. But there's a price tag attached to it, that I would say coordinates quite nicely with how cool they are. Median sale price for single family homes in Lake Elmo is $870. Oscar is tangling me up. It's what he does best, maybe. So median sale price, $870,000. And the inventory ranges from like maybe the high fives up to the couple of million, something like that. You could probably spend more too, depending on how much land and how epic you want it to go. And really the area can support that too. it's beautiful, right? Like, I mean, imagine if you had a house on a lot with topography like this. Yeah, it's just very desirable in its sort of just aesthetic beauty. The average lot size is 0.3 acres, but you'll see much higher than that here as well. And even that's not a tiny lot. That's a decent sized lot. But yeah, you can definitely get a couple of acres with, I don't know, not necessarily relative ease, but you see a fair bit of it. And then the average finished square footage per house is about 3,000. And of course, Lake Elmo did make the cut for best places to buy a new build home. And I would say it's not too far off from making the cut for best places to build, your dream home. It's pretty much right on the verge. It just so happens that the median sale price is a little bit lower. And so there's fewer luxury homes in the area than some of the other spots that did make the cut for that video. And real quick, if you're watching and you're like, who is this? Like, why, what am I even watching? My name is Jesse Lynch. I run the hardest working real estate team in the game with Oscar. We're called To the Twin Cities. You can go to our website, tothetwincities.com, if you want to, see what we're all about. But this YouTube channel is really just trying to be the single best resource for anybody trying to relocate to the Twin Cities, and I would say specifically trying to relocate without the help of a company. We help that too, but there's a lot of people trying to make the move on their own, trying to, just figure this all out, figure out where they want to live, and that's what we do. We really try to focus on making the relocation process as smooth as possible and finding you the place that you want to be, finding you, basically helping you design your life here in the Twin Cities. Yeah, if you want to work with us, we'd love to help. The easiest way is going to our website, tothetwincities.com, and there's a contact form on that you can fill out in like 30 seconds. It's really simple. And then we'll get back in touch with you, kind of get the show on the road, and yeah, start getting you on your way here to the Twin Cities, So anyway, back to Lake Elmo. All right, y'all, right now I'm in a development called North Star, and I'm actually walking in the part that is yet to be developed. You can see behind me there are finished homes there, and then over here, homes under construction, and this is generally sort of where this neighborhood is headed, and sort of the start of roads and things like that. But I want to talk through the pros and cons of Lake Elmo as I see them. And to me, the pros are pretty easy, and really the aesthetic beauty of this place is one of my favorite things about it. It's kind of a place that I could really see building a dream home, depending on budget, right? Like, you could do a luxury home, or you could just do a home that's undeniably nice, probably still expensive by a lot of people's standards, right? But debatably not a luxury home, depending on who you ask, right? And there's a big variety of lots available, pre-existing inventory and things like that, to where you can get just really cool houses. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this because of how wide the lens is on this, but there's actually, within eye shot right now, there are 3 hot air balloons behind me, and I gotta say, it's a vibe. It's really cool. So continuing on the pros and cons list, the next pro for me is just the beautiful park space. I would say Lake Elmo doesn't have like that many parks. Keep in mind the population is only 15,000, but the parks they have, in particular the reserve, is a pretty crazy asset to have. You do have to pay a $7 entry fee for like a vehicle, but if you come in on foot or bicycle or something else other than a car, you should be able to do it for free. And there's really incredible trails, partly tied into that reserve, but just throughout the area in general. It's just, you could really spend a lot of time outdoors in Lake Elmo. Then you have the really cute sort of historic downtown area. It's not huge, I will say that, but it's something, and it's just so undeniably quaint and cozy and, I don't know, just like unique, right? There's not a whole lot of places in Minnesota that feel quite like downtown Lake Elmo. Another pro for me is just how removed it feels out here for what is actually pretty dang good access to specifically downtown St. Paul. Yeah, it just feels like a country neighborhood, right? It feels like you're kind of out there, but the accessibility is really quite good, and highway access and all that is really quite great. And I will say, even though I probably should qualify this as a con, that there's really no suburban conveniences within Lake Elmo proper. They're not that far away, mostly in Woodbury and Oakdale. Yeah, you really, it's not going to be that annoying to go to those places. It's just not technically within the boundaries of Lake Elmo. Then I'm going to say another pro is beautiful housing stock, generally large houses for the most part, generally quite new. The potential to buy, you know, fundamentally a luxury home is there as well. And there's also the potential to buy like more affordable homes. There's just not that many of them here. And it's generally like the very old stock, or the considerably older stock than, you know, like the neighborhood I'm in now, or really what's gonna be making up most of Lake Elmo in, I think, the future will be largely, you know, homes probably post 2020. But to the extent that there's like homes at a variety of price points, it's, you know, starting maybe in the sevens or so, and then going up to 2 million. The, you know, $300,000, $400,000 house, there's not that many of them here, and they're gonna be pretty tough if they are, or extremely modest in size, right? And then as far as cons go, one I can think of, just because I can hear it right now, is there's some light air traffic noise because there is an airport in Lake Elmo, the Lake Elmo Airport, but it's all very, very small craft, you know, prop planes mostly, if not entirely. And I personally, I don't mind that noise at all. I kind of enjoy it, but yeah, some people wouldn't like that. And then there's also a train that goes through, you know, that goes through Lake Elmo, and it blows its horn right by the downtown. That's a fair con, and it's pretty loud. We actually heard it while we were filming, and it scared Oscar. He did not love it. His little fur on the back of his, it toughed it up pretty badly. But I also don't think he's heard that loud of a train horn that close before. I think another con for some people is just how much growth it's seeing and how much development is happening. Not everybody wants to live in a place that's, you know, in flux, that's very much like growing so quickly. And, you know, naturally with those things, if you're living in a neighborhood that's still being built, you know, you're gonna hear the builders, right? You're gonna hear the trucks and the landscaping trucks and yeah, the pneumatic guns and things like that. And with so much developing happening, you know, so recently or in the near future, another con, as far as I'm concerned, is that things are going to be fairly cookie cutter for a while to come. These houses are beautiful, and there's a good variety of builders, and I think I have a slight preference for new build neighborhoods with different builders, even though modern facades generally are fairly consistent with each other, right? And there still might be HOAs governing certain restrictions that even if there's a Hanson builder and a Robert Thomas, they still might be similar enough. But to me, the potential for cookie cutter, or the existence of cookie cutter neighborhoods would qualify as a con. And another con that I think is kind of a given for a lot of these neighborhoods, but if you're not from here, you might not know, is that public transportation is going to be very, very limited in a place like this. And in here particular, it's going to be worse than the likes of Woodbury or Oakdale directly next door. Just the nature of it being so new, and it was rural just before this, which brings me to the last con. And I think this is actually the place that I came up with this term a few years ago, which is that it has what I like to call like echoes of a rural past, right? You have some really beautiful high-end aspects to Lake Elmo, but there's also the sort of undeniable existence of what used to be a rural area. And so you find just some areas that are maintained more like a rural area, and you have some houses and might have some, you know, neighbors in some of these older houses that are like older farm homes that maybe aren't, you know, kept up in the same way that some of these more high-end homes are. So yeah, I'll leave it with that. Echoes of a rural past, they're definitely here, but I would say they don't overwhelm Lake Elmo on the whole. I think for me, a perfect day in Lake Elmo would be all about sort of the disconnect, right? Just disconnecting from so many things, being outside, probably hanging out with this guy who's, you know, starting to be a bit of a baby. I start the day with coffee, maybe a pastry at Lake Elmo Coffee, and probably a walk around the little downtown area here, just to give this guy a little bit of, you know, socializing. Then somewhere around midday or the early afternoon, probably hit up the Lake Elmo Park Reserve, maybe walk the trails, maybe go for a bike ride. But I think even better would be to take a canoe or kayak out, or maybe even better if you had an actual boat, something like that. I think you can honestly spend all day on the lake in Lake Elmo. Then for dinner, I think it's a toss-up between the Lake Elmo Inn or Marma. I think I would favor Marma just a little bit. Very cool ambiance to both, to be honest. But dinner at Marma, then maybe a walk home, maybe a hot air balloon ride. Okay, as always, if you're interested in working with us, in particular, this guy, we'd love to help you. We'd love to work with you. You can go to our website, tothetwincities.com. We have a contact form there that you can fill out in like 30 seconds or less, and we'll get the show on the road, get you heading in the right direction, get you on the way to the Twin Cities. See you in the next one. Bye, y'all.